Hi, hello, welcome to the third semi-annual reviewing every book I've read in the last 6 months with just a single sentence each video. So glad you could make it. This is a video concept that I tried out for the first time last year, and y'all seemed to really enjoy this format. So I thought, why mess with a good thing? Let's do it again. I'm not gonna ramble on for this intro. I'm gonna get right into the reviews, but I will say before I start that if you are the kind of person who prefers longer reviews of books, or maybe you just have your interest piqued by a couple of the books mentioned in this video and you want to learn more, you can always check out my Goodreads. The link is in the description box, always. And you can find more verbose reviews of every book that I'm going to be briefly reviewing in this video. And since there's a lot to get to because I've already finished 54 books this year, let's just jump in our time machine and roll on back to January with the first book I finished in 2023, Amatka. Bizarre, surreal, bleak, unsettling, and disorienting, Amatka explores the multitudinous ways that language shapes our world. In this case, literally. 5 stars. Hidden Pictures. A transphobic house of cards built upon flimsy right-wing dog whistles. 1 star. House of Hunger. An unabashedly sapphic take on the legend of Elizabeth Bathory, a fast-paced, heart-pounding story of cruelty, power, and survival. 4 stars. The Body is Not an Apology. While the message of radical self-love is a very important one, this book is going to feel incredibly surface level for any of you who have spent any time at all in this space. 3 stars. Kaikeyi. An immersive and profoundly feminist retelling of the Hindu legend of Ramayana that is a tragically beautiful exploration of motherhood, womanhood, and trying to do the right thing in impossible circumstances. 5 stars. The Butterfly House. An overly complex thriller with fantastic atmosphere, but a troubling portrayal of mental illness. 2 stars. The World We Make. A gloriously weird SSF story about a group of seemingly random New Yorkers slammed together as they are transformed into the living avatars of their multifarious city just in time to fight for their very survival. Part 2. 5 stars. Legends and Lattes. The coziest book in the entire world. If you like coffee and being happy, you should read it. 5 stars. Moving right on into February. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. Disgustingly cute in the very best way. A wholesome friends to enemies to lovers YA romance. 4 stars. Gutter Child. A blunt look at institutionalized racism, colonization, and the insidious nature of white supremacy, told through the experiences of vivid characters in a dystopian reimagining of our world. 4 stars. The Davenports. Too many identical romances and too little time spent on character development or any exploration really, of deeply relevant historic political movements. 3 stars. Lessons in Chemistry. A piercing yet often humorous look at gender discrimination in STEM in the mid-20th century, balanced perfectly with the heartbreaking realities of a loved one lost far too soon. 5 stars. We Are Not Like Them. A book that dips its toe into a very complicated relationship dynamic, interracial friendship, and a heartbreaking reality of our modern world, racially motivated police violence, but lacks the courage and conviction to dive deeper. 2 stars. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. A captivating exploration of a complex and contentious platonic relationship, told through the lens of video game development. 5 stars. Gallant. A dark and unexpectedly poignant mystery with a Faustian bargain at the center. A tale of grief, death, and unraveling, full of the sting of loss and the yearning to belong. 5 stars. Call Us What We Carry. A profoundly moving poetry collection about surviving the pandemic and being Black in America. 5 stars. Atlas of the Heart. A book that shines in the tiny, minute details, distinguishing between emotions that are often conflated or misunderstood, but falls flat when it strays occasionally into anecdotes, personal asides, and surface-level definitions of deeply complicated feelings. 4 stars. Bad Gays. While I deeply enjoyed learning about a variety of LGBTQIA+ figures throughout history, I did not enjoy the bi-erasure, nor did I enjoy the incongruity between the title and the actual content of the book. 3 stars. Whites. A deeply thought-provoking essay that asks well-meaning white people to do more than the status quo in their allyship. 5 stars. The Survivalists. A very strange book, but not in a good way. Tiresomely repetitive with paper-thin characters. 2 stars. Severina, a love letter to the literary told in a series of dreamlike vignettes, exploring identity, love, loss, and the power of books. 4 stars. Moving into March, Hester, a sublimely told tale of found family, feminism, and resilience in the face of great adversity. 5 stars. Scattered Minds, a controversial book about ADHD that is incredibly validating in the personal anecdote category and deeply questionable in the scientifically backed theories category. 3 stars. Scorched Grace, a mystery novel featuring a chain-smoking, heavily tattooed queer nun/amateur detective that somehow managed to fall flat. I'm still trying to figure that one out. 2 stars. Shades of Grey, an eccentric, imaginative, immersive, and hilarious dystopic exploration of conformity, classism, and arbitrary hierarchies. 5 stars. The Intimacy Experiment, a cute run-of-the-mill romance with an interesting dynamic, a rabbi and former sex worker getting together that was never really satisfyingly explored. 3 stars. Monstrous, Book 2. A frank look at the horrific realities of war and what unadulterated hate, born of fear of difference, can destroy, with the most badass sapphic MC I have ever encountered. 5 stars. Driven to distraction, meandering, plotting, and verbose. 3 qualities that send those of us with ADHD running for the hills. A book about ADHD that is in no way ADHD friendly. 2 stars. Parable of the Sower, a harrowing reimagining of our present in a world destroyed by climate change and unchecked greed. Written 30 years ago with a prescience that is unsettling. 5 stars. Moving into April, Love and Fury. Despite the beautiful writing and interesting subject matter, Mary is an exasperating protagonist, constantly reinforcing her own internalized misogyny and never learning to grow and change. 3 stars. How to Think Like a Woman, a fascinating, if somewhat shallow, look at 4 female philosophers throughout history that spent a little bit too much time sharing deeply personal details about the author's relationship with her ex-husband. 3 stars. A radical guide for women with ADHD, a feel-good pep talk for upper middle-class white wives in the American Bible Belt who have had their worlds turned upside down by an ADHD diagnosis that loses all usefulness if you're a woman that falls outside of this incredibly specific, narrow, and privileged demographic. 2 stars. Taking Charge of Adult ADHD. Easy to absorb explanations of complex neurological processes, a plethora of practical tips, and so much insight. A must-read for any adult with ADHD. 5 stars. Land of Love and Drowning, a twisted family tree as metaphor for the colonization of the Virgin Islands, with generations of vivid characters suffering from the ebb and flow of yearning for freedom yet craving belonging. 4 stars. Getting into May, The Collected Regrets of Clover, a heartfelt exploration of grief, loss, and the myriad ways we avoid facing the inevitability of death. 5 stars. Luster, a portrait of a failed artist full of lust and ennui, loneliness, and a quiet, roiling rage bubbling just under the surface. 5 stars. The Bloody Chamber, a piercing 40-year-old collection of feminist fairy and folktale retellings that speaks to modern issues of gender and sex as perspicaciously as if it had been written yesterday. 4 stars. Where the Drowned Girls Go, a transitional book in the series that delivered very little in the way of character or plot development. 2 stars. Loot, a fantastic premise wasted on poor execution and a very misplaced romance. 2 stars. Lost in the Moment and Found. Gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and hopeful. This is a story that needs to be told. 5 stars. Hide. If hide and seek was a game of life and death and your local abandoned amusement park was a twisted hunting ground. 4 stars. Entangled Life. A traipse through the wonderful world of fungi with surprisingly lyrical writing that is as dense as it is engaging. 5 stars. And finally, moving into June. L'énigme de la chambre 622, or The Enigma of Room 622. Un mystère amusant, quoique un peu ridicule, qui continuait facilement de 100 pages de trop, mais qui réussissait quand même à divertir. A fun, albeit slightly ridiculous mystery that was easily 200 pages too long, but still managed to entertain. 3 étoiles, 3 stars. Straight, an interesting metaphor for homophobia that was as poignant as it was horrific, but spent a little too many of its very limited page count on repeatedly spelling out the message. 3 stars. Monstrillo, a gorgeous novel about the monstrous shapes grief can take, and the monster it can make of all of us if we let it. 5 stars. It ends with us, a clumsily handled exploration of the difficulty of leaving an abusive partner, masquerading as a romance, causing more harm than good. 1 star. A Restless Truth. A buoyant, sapphic romp of a transatlantic voyage with murder, magic, and a menagerie. 4 stars. Yoda's helping for the final stretch. Permanently, incredibly helpful, never distraction. Not even once. Normal People. Romanticization of mental illness and abuse, framed as the trials and tribulations of star-crossed lovers from opposite sides of the tracks. 2 stars. The Martian. A somewhat perfunctory survival story peppered with juvenile humor, with a surprising amount of heart that eventually won me over. 3 stars. Death in Her Hands. Bear witness to the rapid deterioration of a mind into panic and paranoia from the inside. 4 stars. Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. An adorable sapphic romance with a big gesture to swoon over and a maternal reconciliation that made me sob like a little baby. 5 stars. The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. The emotional maelstrom that is learning who you are and coming out as a queer teen, with a sibling relationship that felt viscerally real and made my heart ache. 4 stars. Glassworks, an intriguing and engaging exploration of relationships and family spread out through time, connected by a delicate thread made out of glass, that changed POVs a few too many times for me to fully engage with the characters. 4 stars. And finally, the last book I have finished so far in 2023, 100 Years of Solitude. An epic tale spanning generations, commenting on the socio-political climate of Colombia, laced with dark humor and heart. 5 stars. And that brings us to the end of this video. Those are my 1-sentence reviews of all of the books I've read so far in 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of the 54 books I reviewed in this video and what your thoughts were. Also, let me know if you have any recommendations for me. I am always looking for more books to add to my TBR, even though my TBR is already massive, but it's fine. If you haven't seen the 2 videos I made like this in 2022, I'll have them linked in the description box down below so you can give them a watch. 100+ more 1-sentence reviews of books that I've read and hated or loved or felt very blah about. Thanks again for watching this video. Leave some sort of bookish emoji in the comments if you made it all the way to the end, so I know you're a real one. Thank you as always to my patrons for your support. Y'all are my favorite people on the planet. And with that, I'm gonna get going. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends. Oh, ow. Okay. Oh. Hi.